One of the Valentine's Day traditions I have with my kids is having a Valentine's Day tea party. So I thought it would be fun to make a Valentine's Day tea towel today. We will be using heat transfer vinyl today, and I am going to cut it out using the Loklik iCraft. Now, I haven't used heat transfer vinyl yet with this machine, so I thought it would be a great chance to test that out. I'll also be pressing the design using the HTVRONT Auto Heat Press 2. I've really been enjoying this heat press, so we're going to use that today as well. If we're just meeting right now, hi, my name is Nisha. Welcome to Little Craft Nest. I love using design bundles for quick and easy projects to make, and I just love this Valentine's Day subway art design. So you can go ahead and download this design. I'll leave a link for it in the description below. And then once you've downloaded this design, go ahead and open up Loklik Idea Studio. Head over to the left-hand side of your screen and click on Upload. This design came in a number of different formats, so make sure you upload the SVG version of it. So click on that and then add that to your canvas. I'm just gonna drag this onto the screen, and the size of this design looks like it's 6.01 inches in height. I'm just gonna make that an even 6 inches in height, and I think this will be the perfect size for a tea towel. But you can always get your measuring tape out, measure the area where you want your design to be on your tea towel, and then decide how big or small you want your design to be. Then make sure your design is selected. You'll have a little bluish box going around the outside of it. That way you know you have selected it, and then click on Make in the top right-hand corner. If you haven't already, turn on your Loklik iCraft cutting machine and then click on Connect Device. You can connect it by USB or Bluetooth. I'm going to select Bluetooth today, and then click on Search, click on Connect, and then Complete Connection. Now we can get our design cut out. So at the top here, we have Cut selected, and that's what we want. Under Mode, click on the drop-down menu and click on Standard Cut. We are using a cutting mat to cut this out, and the size of the mat I'm using is a 12 by 12 inch mat. Under cutting parameters, we're gonna cut out some red heat transfer vinyl as well as some black heat transfer vinyl. So we need to select both of these. So you can just click that box in the top to select them both. And then we need to select our material. So under Type, click on that menu there, and you'll get this other pop-up menu. I am using HTVRONT material, so I am going to select that. And we have heat transfer vinyl selected over here. Go down to the bottom, and I am using pure heat transfer vinyl. Now, if you're using a different type of heat transfer vinyl, such as glitter, you would choose that. I'm just using regular heat transfer vinyl today. Now, because we selected heat transfer vinyl, Loklik is reminding us to place the glossy side facing down on our mat and to mirror our image. So under cutting force here, you'll see where it says mirror. Just click on that toggle, and that will reverse your image so it's in a different direction. You can also move your image on your mat. I'm gonna have it right at the top left-hand corner, and that's where I'll be placing my vinyl on my mat. And then go down to the bottom and click on Add to Task. So I have some black and red heat transfer vinyl here. We're gonna start off with the red. I'm gonna peel the cover off my mat and then take our heat transfer vinyl. We want that shiny side facing down at the mat, and this white side facing up at me. Now, sometimes you'll have heat transfer vinyl and it does not have a white backing on it. Sometimes it's the same color as the front. So make sure that shinier side is facing down. Then we'll load our mat into our machine. Make sure your mat is going under the tabs on the side, and then press the arrow button on top of your machine. And now if your arrow button seems to push your mat out instead of bring it in, just press those arrows again and it should pull your mat in. And then go back on your computer and click on the green Start button. Once it has finished cutting, we can unload the mat by pressing the arrow button. Then we can peel our heat transfer vinyl off the mat and then put our black heat transfer vinyl on the mat. So this time it's the same color on the front as it is the back. So we want that shiny side again facing down on our mat. And then we'll load our machine the same way as we did before and get this cut out. Once your design is cut out, we do need to weed it out, but you can see there's a lot of extra vinyl here that we didn't use, and we can save that for another project. So I'm going to take my scissors and just cut off this extra vinyl here and save that for something else. And you can do that with the red vinyl as well. Just make sure you're not cutting over any of your cut lines. And then you'll need to weed out your design. So I'm using a pin pen, which I find the easiest to weed with, but you can use any weeding tool that you enjoy working with. So I am just going to grab the corner here, peel that back so I can grab it with my fingers, and then pull that back, and we'll get this outside removed first. And then you'll also have to remove all those inside pieces. Now, there is a lot going on with this design because there's so many different words and little pieces you need to remove. So just take your time. It can be tedious, but it can also be an enjoyable, relaxing experience. So don't rush it, just slowly take your time. I find good overhead lighting really helps as well. So I finished weeding this out. As you can see, it was very tedious to do. And I did make a mistake, and somehow I got rid of my W there. And I didn't like the way these X's, some of them didn't really turn out. So I went ahead and cut out some additional letters here. So what I'm going to do is just cut out this W here. Make sure none of this extra stuff is going to overlap the letters I already have on my design. So I'm cutting it nice and close. And then I'm just gonna add this on here now. That's overlapping a little bit. So I need to cut it a little more. Now, if this is your first time doing heat transfer vinyl and you have not weeded before, I definitely recommend starting off with an easier design. But if you want a challenge, you can definitely go ahead and do this one. So I'm just going to add that W there. And so that will transfer onto our tea towel. And I think I'm going to remove these two X's here at the bottom and add some new X's here. I've set my HTVRONT Auto Heat Press to 305 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have the time set for 15 seconds, and we have the pressure at 170 pounds. Before pressing our design onto our tea towel, I'm just going to take a lint roller and remove any lint or dirt off of the tea towel. And then I'm going to give it a quick press to remove any moisture. So I'm going to push the drawer in and click on the start button. And I'm just going to do this for 5 seconds and then click any button on your machine to open it up again. To find the middle of your tea towel to line up the design, you can fold your tea towel in half, place it on your press again, make sure those corners are lined up, and we'll give it another quick press so we can make a little crease in our tea towel. So I've got a center line here. There are some other crease lines in my tea towel just because these have been in storage, all folded up. So those crease lines will come out in the wash later on. Now, because we have two different layers, we have our black layer and our red layer, we are going to press this on twice. So to find the middle of our design, once again, you can line up those squares of the vinyl and then put a little pinch in your carrying sheet. And so now we've got our lines there, and we can line up these lines on our carrying sheet with the crease we just made in our tea towel. I want this design to be at the bottom of my tea towel, so I'm going to swing this around. Make sure that sticky part is laying flat on your material, and then just press your design down. Now, because we're doing two presses, I'm going to cut the first press short. So I'm not going to do the full 15 seconds. I will open this up probably around 8 or 9 seconds. And then when we do our second layer, we will do the full press. So I'm going to slide this in and click my start button on the top. Now, HTVRONT's heat transfer vinyl is a cool peel, so I'm gonna let this cool for a few seconds before I peel the carrying sheet off. Now, other heat transfer vinyls you can peel warm, so just be aware of what the instructions are for the heat transfer vinyl that you're using. All right, now this has cooled down, so we can peel off that carrying sheet. And you can see our design is nicely on there. Now we need to add our red layers on top. So I've got our little vinyl heart. We're gonna stick this in the top corner. And then we have our Valentine's text, which we will fit in between those words. Now, some of our vinyl here is exposed to the heat plate because we don't have a carrying sheet covering all the black vinyl we already put down. So what I'm going to do is use a Teflon sheet. You can use parchment paper as well, and just lay that on top of the design. And then I'll push the drawer in, and this time we will do a full press. So I'm gonna press start. And when the timer has stopped, my machine will open automatically. So if I walk away, it's not going to continue pressing. All right, we can pull that drawer out, remove our Teflon sheet. We'll let this cool a little bit before we peel that carrying sheet backwards. All right, it's feeling cool now, so let's remove the backing here. And look how cute this turned out. It is perfect for a Valentine's Day tea party. For more Loklik iCraft tutorials, check out this playlist right here, and I hope to see you on more crafting adventures.